I've been wearing my glasses too much and my face is taking its revenge on me. Anyways, what's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla -1 news roundup. In this video, we will be continuing our chronological journey through the release and development of Godzilla -1 and the next Toho Godzilla film by talking about events that happened back in March of 2024. In this video, we're going to be talking about Yamazaki's post-Oscars win interviews, as well as a Takashi Yamazaki Adam Wingard crossover interview, which I'm sure you guys have seen, that I want to talk about. Alright, let's do it. Starting out, I want to show off some art from the community as always, and this first piece comes to us from My Kaiju. This is awesome. I always love the toy photography. It just looks so cool. This is obviously Godzilla the Ride, but I just really love it. It was titled Survive and Fight. I just thought it was so rad, so I wanted to show it off. Ishigami Kurian did a Godzilla whip. This is it. I don't know what the final piece wound up looking like, but this one is awesome. Love the fireball behind Godzilla. Love the lighting. It just looks fantastic. I really wanted to show that one off. I thought it was really great. Director Takashi Yamazaki already has done another kaiju film after Godzilla -1, and it was his Ajinomoto commercial. From what I gather, Ajinomoto is like about food waste. It's like a food waste organization. But Yamazaki made a little kaiju ad. It's got great scale, as you would expect from Yamazaki. It's also got a great sci-fi flair. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's also a behind-the-scenes reel attached to it that just shows how hard Yamazaki goes, even on commercials. Like, he spends a lot of time thinking about the VFX, and it shows. It works really well. I just like to see some more creative stuff come out of Shiorigami and come out of director Takashi Yamazaki. I just think it's a lot of fun. To celebrate Godzilla -1's Oscar win, Mondo re-released the Tony Stella poster, although this is their screen printed variant, so it's like more of a minus color version. I thought that was pretty sweet. There was a memorial frame stamp set released for Godzilla -1 that looks like you get to pick which scenes and snippets you want to go in it. That looks pretty cool. Kaiju Lemon did a collaboration with Godzilla -1 in which they sold cookies and banknotes for Godzilla -1. So these are actual Godzilla banknotes, real money as I understand it. This is real money that you could buy that was worth something with Godzilla on it. So like, you spend $100 on one of these things and then the piece of paper is worth $100. It's like a real Godzilla $100 bill that you can take to the bank and then cash in, I'm pretty sure. Here's a little poster for that collaboration as well. A new shirt line launched from Toho. I love this Godzilla -1. I love it. I love the blue on his spines. I love the pose. That's just a sick shirt. There's a very retro, I love it, very 90s, very skater boy aesthetic Burning Godzilla shirt. I love the graffiti. That's so much fun. Here's a cool Godzilla 2000 one. That's also pretty neat. And then I also really like these Godzilla simplified ones, like the Godzilla 54 and then the Godzilla vs. Megaguirus one. Those are pretty cool. And I've talked about these before and I'll talk about them again. They are wonderful. Bandai officially launched their Legacy Series hoodies. Of course, it's got Godzilla -1, Shin Godzilla, Godzilla 54, Godzilla 1995, and Godzilla 2000. They are wonderful. They are artistic. There are shirt versions, there are hoodie versions, there are white versions, there are black versions, and the artwork is stunning. They look wonderful. Toho launched a new merch line featuring My Goji as well as many other things. I actually think my favorite thing in here is the little Kamata-kun thing, but yeah, there's a new merch line that was launched. Here are some photos of the X Plus Godzilla -1 charged version. I really like this one a lot. I actually think I like this one more than the original. This Rick version features transparent blue dorsal spines as well as a blue glow that can emit from them. It ran you $218, so very pricey, but wow, is it amazing. Just wonderfully sculpted details, wonderful paint job, and oh my god, do I love the blue translucent spines. They look incredible. Following the Oscars, Godzilla -1 had a huge re-release in Japan. It was already still playing in theaters, but it just expanded again, and Godzilla -1 screened with Japanese subtitles in Toho cinemas. That's pretty cool. Ryonosuke Kamiki, Minami Hamabe, and Takashi Yamazaki actually rocked the Godzilla - shoes made famous at the Oscars at the world premiere for the movie back in November. I had no idea, but there they are wearing them. There's also a very cute little video of Kamiki shouting out Yamazaki and -1 from that as well. I just thought those were so fun.
Takashi Yamazaki Gojira Yamazaki
Godzilla won the grand prize for live-action films at the VFX Japan Awards. The Oscars host, Jimmy Kimmel, says his favorite part of the Oscars was hearing Arnold say Godzilla. Arnold kind of, said it like he had no idea what the word was. Here's a little photo of Godzilla at the Oscars from the perspective of the Godzilla team. Landon Nordeman's Godzilla Oscars photo was released, and it's just wonderful. I love how excited they are. That's great. Here's another one that comes to us from Yana Yatsuke. This is another really good one. Here's a photo of director Takashi Yamazaki signing the Oscars poster. I believe this gets to be signed by all of the Oscars winners, and Toho posted this to celebrate Godzilla -1 crossed the 6.83 billion yen mark at the box office. The Academy Awards also released this little video of the Godzilla Minus crew. They look kick-ass. Look at those guys rocking their little Godzillas. Posted this to celebrate their win, and then to celebrate Godzilla -1 boosting back into the top 5 at the box office in Japan, Toho released a new angle from the winning team's perspective as they got their Oscars. Very exciting, and I love that we have now multiple angles. Yamazaki celebrated reuniting with Christopher Nolan at the Oscars along with the Godzilla Minus crew. Godzilla then released an Academy Awards trailer and had a major return to Japanese theaters. Back home in Japan, Minami Hamabe made a surprise appearance at a press conference held to celebrate Godzilla -1's win. They then released a Godzilla Academy Awards poster. This one's beautiful. I love this one, along with a Godzilla -1 awards-winning banner of the same poster. Just another great one. This was done to announce that Godzilla -1 would have a big broadcast and stage greeting in Japan. The cast actually wound up reuniting at said stage greeting. Yamazaki did an interview on the news when he returned home from Japan, his first post-Oscars interview where he breaks down the moment. So let's go through that. Yamazaki talks about how strange it is to own an Oscar and how much adrenaline takes over when you get up on the stage. They celebrate how excited he was when he won the award. Yamazaki says he loved writing the speech, but did so thinking he wouldn't win, so he didn't think the speech really mattered. In fact, his original speech was so short that he rewrote it just moments before winning the award. He talks about how nervous he was going up and trying to read English, and he was so panicked he could barely read his own handwriting, making it really difficult for him. He also talks about how unfortunate it is that the Get Off the Stage music played at the most important part of his speech, when he was honoring Godzilla -1's passed away producer, Shuji Abe. He didn't seem to hold any ill will towards the Oscars for this, though. They celebrate the Godzilla Minus shoes, Yamazaki revealing that so many people at the Oscars, so many American celebrities wanted a pair, and so many people online want pairs as well. Yamazaki says the most important thing to remember is that 35 people worked on the VFX for -1. Not just him, and not just the 4 people who won the awards, but the entire team of 35 people all deserve recognition. I think that's very humble. Yamazaki celebrates meeting Steven Spielberg and so many others who inspired him. He talks about how he actually saw Spielberg at the Oscars luncheon, but was too embarrassed to go over and talk to him, and was actually pushed into it. He went over and spoke to him, but it was such a huge deal for him that he was so nervous. He reveals that Spielberg actually didn't recognize him at first, and was busy talking to Disney's CEO, Bob Iger. But once Spielberg saw Yamazaki's Godzilla figure, he realized who was standing there, stopped talking to Bob Iger, and turned to talk to Yamazaki instead. It was there where Yamazaki found out that Steven Spielberg watched Godzilla -1 3 times and found it to be an amazing movie, pushing Yamazaki to tears. Yamazaki says the small budget for Godzilla -1, as well as the limited number of VFX artists working on the film, is what gave them the edge because of how much they accomplished with so little. That's why they won the award. Yamazaki's goal was to immerse people of all different demographics and generations in the film. He tried very hard to make sure older fans and younger generations of Japanese filmgoers could enjoy -1. Yamazaki says the biggest lesson of the movie is that US audiences are open to foreign films with subtitles beyond just the artsy market. They like big genre films as well. And this is a big win for Japanese live-action genre films on a scale we've never seen before. Yamazaki says he doesn't want to win awards, and that's not why he makes films. He says although many of his films have won awards over the years, his goal is to make movies for audiences to enjoy, rather than movies to impress awards voters. And I completely stand by that. I think that is the approach filmmakers should take. Yamazaki reveals he actually has a very complicated relationship with awards, but that he wants to continue to make movies for his country and for people beyond that for the first time ever. He says that this film taught him to be open-minded to try and appeal to global audiences, rather than tell stories that are so domestic that they often don't resonate with people outside of Japan. And that leads us to the director Adam Wingard of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire and Godzilla vs. Kong, and director Takashi Yamazaki crossover. This was hosted by IMAX. I love that they got the two of them together with their two Godzillas, very cute, but I also love that it's just in this giant, empty, creepy warehouse. Why did they not find a more inviting space to do this? I guess a warehouse that big is the only place you can get two Godzillas inside one room, huh? But the two directors united for the first time and got to do a little interview together to promote Godzilla -1 and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire in IMAX. It was very fun, and I want to break that down. It's also very interesting because Yamazaki is personal friends with Gareth Edwards from outside of this. They met in Japan at least before November 2023, and they've been friends ever since, with having a couple reunions over the months. In fact, that was something we talked about in the last video, a director Takashi Yamazaki Gareth Edwards crossover interview. But he got to meet Adam Wingard here, he got to watch New Empire, and then they did this little video together that I want to break down. Starting out, Wingard reveals he's been a fan of Godzilla since he was 6 years old and grew up watching the Showa films on television. He says he gravitated towards the Kaiju because they were characters rather than just animals. That's what gave them the edge over dinosaurs. He says that his favorite parts of the movies were the parts without people. Yamazaki says that Godzilla films always came on television when baseball games would be canceled by rain, and Yamazaki would secretly hope for rain so that he could see more Godzilla films on TV. Yamazaki reveals he was terrified by Godzilla, but very interested in him. He says he was surprised to learn people make a living making monster movies, and then he realized that's what he wants to do for his job as well. Wingard celebrates how different -1 and Godzilla X Kong the New Empire are, and says that's why Godzilla has lasted for so long. He says the versatility of the character is what kept him around. Takashi Yamazaki weighs in on this, giving his perspective, and I actually think this is the key to Godzilla's success, is what Yamazaki says right here. Yamazaki talks about how the social climate is constantly changing, and Godzilla's ability to change along with it in order to reflect modern issues is what gives him such a long-lasting appeal and is what makes him so versatile in the first place. When making -1, Yamazaki started with wanting to see the terrifying and strong Godzilla in all his glory. He says he couldn't help but take the film in a very serious direction, but he also celebrates the fun and psychedelic side of Godzilla from the Showa series, and says Adam Wingard wound up inheriting that side of Godzilla, but that together they can combine to create the full scope of the Godzilla IP and legacy in the modern day. Yamazaki loves that they can both fulfill both sides of Godzilla at once in the modern day at the same time, and says that is what's best for Godzilla right now. I could not agree more. It satisfies both ends of the spectrum at the exact same time on a level we have never seen before. Wingard says if he could pick an IMAX triple feature of Godzilla films, his triple feature would be Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla -1, and Godzilla vs. Destroya. I do think it's unfortunate Wingard isn't back for the next Godzilla Monsterverse film, considering it seemed like he wanted to take things in a very Destroya-esque direction, and I think that would have been very exciting. But I am excited to see where they head from here. Director Takashi Yamazaki weighed in on the same question, picking his three faves as Godzilla 54, GMK, and Shin Godzilla. In a bit of an awkward moment, Yamazaki then throws in Godzilla vs. Kong, almost like because Wingard picked -1, he felt like obligated to. I thought that was very funny. Yamazaki picks Godzilla vs. Kong and praises it, saying Godzilla vs. Kong is so exciting because the monsters start out as rivals and then join together to fight Mechagodzilla, which is super exciting and fresh to watch. He says he wants to watch that film on IMAX screens, and then it seems he's disappointed he didn't get to. Yamazaki then reveals his favorite scene in Godzilla X Kong the New Empire is the last fight because it's overwhelming and intense and will get people excited. I'm assuming he means the anti-gravity battle. He says that that scene will make people understand why the film should be seen in IMAX. Wingard then says as far as -1's concerned, he picks the Ginza attack as his favorite scene because specifically the scales popping out of Godzilla as he charges up his spines is such a cool and unique way to keep Godzilla's atomic breath fresh and a really cool way to keep it exciting. He then comments how Shin Godzilla had raised the bar for atomic breath sequences, and in his opinion -1 wound up outdoing that. He then mentions that he doesn't even really try to do that because the bar has been raised and Godzilla's atomic breath is such an old thing that that's not something he even thought to do to try and make Godzilla's atomic breath still a reveal at this point. And that'll do it for this one. That's all the news we got for this one. Thank you guys all for watching. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to check out the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.